All right, guys, we're back with another reaction video. We've got Kelly and myself watching this video that we have not seen before, but we will tell you what we think. We'll tell you the good, the bad, what we're observing, and you guys are always great about telling us what you think in the comments. So let's get into it.
He swerved and ended up hitting this, and his airbag went off, and so now he's kind of a little out of it, and that's my car, and I just kind of slammed on the brakes. I didn't see anything that happened. I have absolutely no idea.
Okay. Let me talk to him real quick. What's his name?
George Kruse.
George Kruse? Okay.
Did somebody call you?
Yeah. The whole neighborhood. I'm working the special detail in here, and everybody keeps driving up to me.
Oh,
so,
really?
yeah. So, where's he at?
Hey, babe, how you feeling?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you tell me what happened?
I was coming through the gate and somebody cut me off and blew right past me, and I tried to hit my brakes and curve around them and just cut a curve.
A couple of things. If you're the officer, right? You're like, what do you mean somebody call me? Like, there's a car accident. You know what I mean? Like, aren't you happy I'm here? Like,
yeah. Also, are these husband and wife, and she's driving this car, and he was driving the pickup?
I think so. That's what I've picked up so far. I'm kind of putting myself, in the officer's shoes.
Yeah, I thought it was sus, too, that she was like, yeah, he's super out of it because of the accident. Like, she's kind of trying to explain his actions before. Which
it certainly can be hard to differentiate between, slurred speech, or whatever, between intoxication and a head injury, right? They can have a lot of the same symptoms initially, right, upon first contact.
Right.
Okay. So you're saying that somebody was going around you?
Somebody cut, our whole road's being ripped up. So they try to curve around me, so I hit my brakes, and I just swerved over her.
Okay.
His eyes are weird, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Why's your shirt wet? What's going on with your shirt?
It's sweat.
It's a sweat. Because
from the airbag?
The airbag just...
Well, the airbag doesn't have water in it.
Right.
It doesn't have water.
It
Why
has
is there
powder.
water?
Because I'm stressed.
Stress. Okay. All right. We got EMS coming to check you out, okay? All right. So just stay in the car for me. Do you have your license on you?
Do you need EMS?
I don't need EMS.
Well, we'll have them at least come check you out. Airbag deployment and stuff like that, you want to have them at least looked at.
I live a half mile from this house.
Okay. All right, just hang out for me, okay? I'll be back with you in a second. Hey, vehicle versus tree, single vehicle, no other property damage. The driver is impaired of something. However, he was not in the vehicle when I got on scene. He was in his wife's vehicle.
Yeah, did we have any wheel witness on scene? This came up actually in one of our cases recently where, they call it, it's not a term I've heard, honestly, all that often. I don't think it's used that much here in Illinois, but can someone witness him behind the wheel? Can someone, testify as to whether or not this person was driving? An independent witness, right?
I was wondering that, too. Like, if the airbag deployed, wouldn't there be some indicia of that on his person?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it sounds like the wife, I'm assuming wife, made an admission. He just made an admission, right? I was driving and someone cut me off and then I hit the tree. So there is a wheel witness.
Yeah.
I think it would be the wife. She just doesn't realize she's the witness against him yet.
Yeah, if she was driving ahead of him or... Also, it's like the story he's giving isn't making a ton of sense. This seems like a 2-lane road.
Right.
So unless somebody tried to cut him off by going around him illegally and then that freaked him out somehow.
It sounds like he's just trying to cover up a story.
Yeah.
That's my guess. That's my...
Yeah, maybe he fell asleep at the wheel and is now trying to cover it up or something.
Yeah, I mean, single car accidents do raise some eyebrows. We see a lot of them, right? So I think, how did that happen? And there can be totally legitimate, perfectly reasonable explanations, right? Like someone could run out in front of you or cut you off or a problem with the car or something in the road, right? But it does make you kind of go, what's going on here?
Yeah, you weren't paying attention or you fell asleep or something.
Something's up, right? There's got to be some explanation for it.
No, 54. Nobody stayed. So we have no independent witness. Just wanted to run it by you guys and be sure that
You
we weren't
do.
going to do anything with it.
The wife.
All right, 10-4. I'll get a patrol unit to come work the crash. Does he have his license on him?
Yes.
I get that
can
from-
get his license. Yes.
Oh, don't get out of the car, buddy.
Yeah.
My name is Nick Height. We are in Charles, Hall, Ida.
There you go.
Thank you.
First name Jessica, John,
Are you
and
still
Florida.
dates and place address?
Yes. Yes. In fact, our daughter just drove by with
2891.
her soccer teammate. She got all freaked out.
Go ahead and call a tow truck. Start getting that on the way.
Okay. Can I bring him home so he can settle down, and then I'll handle this tow truck?
Please.
Yeah.
Right here on this is Daisy.
What do you mean?
Big question.
Like you're going to drop him off at home and then...
And then he can go home with my daughter. Just drove by
Okay.
with her soccer teammate.
What?
Yep, that's
So
fine.
can I drop him off with her?
So they've already
Yeah.
decided that they're not going to pursue a DUI investigation.
Yes, it is
Very-
strange that they're not pursuing a DUI investigation. Even, this is my thing. They said, do we have a wheel witness? Meaning, do we have someone who can corroborate that this guy was driving? Yes. 2.
Yeah, his own admission and
His
the wife,
own admission and his
which
wife.
is caught on body-worn camera.
Right, exactly.
Also,
I mean,
if that car's registered to him as well, that's circumstantial evidence on top of the
Totally.
admissions.
totally. Yes, exactly. It is enough to charge him. Now, what gets
Yeah.
proven in court, and say they get charged with a DUI, and the only witness is his guy's not going to get on the stand and testify against himself, right? The wife may there's some privilege, right, against testifying your wife, but that's all stuff that gets worked out in court. The question for the officers: do I have enough to charge him? I don't know about that yet. But do you have enough to continue an investigation? Absolutely, right?
Also, when the wife asked, like, did somebody call you? He's like, yeah, everyone in the neighborhood's been calling me. Like,
Right.
And he's like, we don't have anybody. Okay, just let him go.
That's true, yeah. Exactly.
Do you
There's people
wanna knock
driving
on
by
some
every 2
doors?
seconds. They're shortcutting this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, get them out of here. Go home.
Yeah.
Here, fine. Say there is no DUI. He still drove off the road. That's a traffic ticket at the very least,
Yeah.
Improper lane usage, failure to reduce speed to avoid an accident.
Also, I thought the EMTs were on the way. Don't let him go home.
It's another
That's
great
like
point.
liability for the police department.
Exactly. Another great point. We were just a minute ago, we're like, yeah, we're going to get you checked out.
Yeah.
No, sure.
Yeah.
Her and her soccer friend drove by? Yeah, go home. Go home. They're definitely shortcutting this
Yeah.
investigation.
No, you're fine.
Oh no, you did that?
Did what?
That.
Crash the truck?
Whatever.
Are you... The dude freaking crashed into a tree?
Dude, did you listen wrong?
No, he's drunk. Just can't do a DUI because nobody can put him behind the wheel. When I got here, he was in his wife's car.
Oh my god.
He's a very... Are you here to work the crash?
No, I'm going to work. I'm going to be late today.
Oh, that's right. You're on the island.
Hey.
I forgot about that.
Don't let me piss this guy off.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Hey, man, you too. I'm glad you're out there.
All right.
Sure, that's relaxing.
Sounded like he was just about to say that he was the
Right.
commissioner.
I think you did. You were.
What's up, man? If it would have happened about 15 minutes sooner, I'd have worked it for you. I'm trying to go home. I'm here till 8. I'm trying to look and see how this went down. She's lying. That's his driver's license and his registration. I don't have the insurance. This is probably her coming back up, the wife.
Okay.
She went and dropped him off at home. He's intoxicated. But when I got here, he was out of the car, in her car. And then there was nobody that stopped to say that they saw him in the car. He's admitting to being in the car and driving. She's admitted to him being in the car and driving, but
But we don't have any witness.
it is what it is. Single vehicle accident, no property damage or anything like that. He is a county commissioner, FYI.
FYI.
So that's why she's going to be very political with you. Very polite, just take it for a grain of salt. He was obviously drinking. He's got a LaCroix in the front seat. He couldn't explain to me how his shirt got wet. Well, it's because he had a LaCroix in his hand when he freaking crashed into the tree, probably.
Okay, who cares?
LaCroix's not alcohol, is it?
No, it's a sparkling
I
water.
know. This guy's
What?
drinking Freaking fancy waters.
Yeah. She's gonna be nice, but don't take it seriously.
Yeah, I don't
like,
understand
what?
it.
So that just tells you more so that he's intoxicated. She's working on getting a tow truck here.
Wasn't that weird too? That it's
We just
her
scratched out
responsibility
for
to get the
single vehicle
tow.
crash deal. She can wait for the tow truck. You wouldn't have to wait for it being off the roadway. I was just trying to look at as I was trying to see where the tires went. But it looks like he just missed this tree. Looks like he came up here somewhere. I can't tell where he came up on the curb at. Oh, it must have been right there. There it is. Yep. So, and then you have the two down there that's the tires chirping, and then he made it up onto the curb and smacked into the tree. Her story is she was driving behind him, and his story after the fact is that somebody cut him off. They pulled around him. She said somebody just cut him off. He said that somebody came around him and cut him off, to pass him, and he lost control of the car because the way the road is. Which, if you're doing the proper speed, he wouldn't have that much crush damage on his hood. So that's just my traffic investigation crap. But it's just easy, simple single vehicle crash. You need anything from me? All right.
He's like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Okay. This deputy's going to do a traffic crash, single vehicle. You understand your husband could go to jail for intoxicated driving, so you need to just talk to him about that. He's obviously impaired. It's obvious. This kind of crush depth for this kind of crash, he was not doing the speed limit that this road requires. If he's saying that somebody went around him,
I will say,
Don't say
though,
anything.
that
Don't.
this asphalt has been a complete shit show.
Oh, I
and
agree.
if you get one wrong swerve, it can cause you to go. And people are
to a degree, if you're driving the
Understood.
speed limit that he should have been driving, that would not have been the case. You can hold control
don't
of your
say
vehicle.
it.
It's not that
Yeah.
slippery. I've driven up and down this road for the last 4 hours, okay, at the posted speed limit, and I've had no issues controlling my vehicle.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hang on one second.
So just be mindful of that. I know who your husband is, okay, and this could have turned out very badly, and he just needs to be more cognizant of
Thank
that.
you, officer. Have a
All
good
right,
day.
whether or not somebody cut him off or not, we'll take that with a grain of salt. But the speed that he was
I don't know what that
driving
means.
was not the
Yeah.
speed limit. It was well over the speed limit because there's over 2.5 feet worth of crush damage on this tree. This truck only weighs about 6,000 pounds. I'm a trained traffic investigator. That kind of crush depth would not have happened if he was only traveling at 25 miles an hour. Okay?
Don't say
So,
anything.
Thank you.
Just,
Thank
there's
you.
no
Goodbye.
reason why he should have been driving, especially if you were right behind him. I mean, you guys are very aware of how this law works.
Of
You're
course.
very smart people,
Of course.
so
Of course.
just
Of course.
there's no reason he should have been driving. You guys have to be mindful of that because then our hands are tied,
I
and then
understand.
we have to make phone calls, and other people have to be involved, and it's just it puts everybody into a really crappy scenario, and I don't want to be there. The benefit here is that nobody out of the 7 people that stopped and told me about this, nobody stayed to say he was in that car.
And I couldn't
Had that been
possibly
the case,
find
my
him
Oh my
traffic
God.
in
would
this
have been
gated
a
community.
crash,
Yeah.
DUI, and he would have gone to jail.
Oh, she's crying
Because
now.
he was obviously impaired. Nobody that's driving a car that has all their faculties about them wouldn't know where the water came from on his truck, on his shirt. It's because he had a drink in his hand, and when he crashed, the drink went all over him. And an airbag, this crash in and of itself in the airbag wouldn't put somebody into that big of a loop that he didn't know what happened.
It's not the
because he's
civilian's
intoxicated.
responsibility to stop and be like, I'm going to wait here and give you all the
Please have a very
information.
candid conversation with him about it. That this could have been very, very bad for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
To summarize, I have an open and shut case here that I am 100% sure of. So have a good night. I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I'm pissed off that I'm not doing anything about it, and it's everyone else's fault but mine.
I'll tell you who the real victim is here. This poor insurance agent who's on the phone like, hello, I am trying to answer this call.
She's like, yeah, hold on one second.
I don't appreciate being not given factual points about what happened.
Don't say
I've
anything.
never been in this situation.
I know,
Okay?
I know,
I've never
and that's
been
why
in
I'm telling you.
this-
The way to get out of the situation is nobody drives. We have Uber, we have Lyft, we have places that'll pick
It's
up your
not
car
the
and tow it for
suspect's
free.
responsibility to be like,
You're
by the
with
way,
him.
I've been
I
drinking.
imagine you're with him.
I was a couple minutes behind him.
Okay, so
Oh, now she was a
Okay.
couple minutes
All right.
behind him,
Just-
she just
I
said.
don't ever want to have
Stop
to
talking,
do this
stop
to a
talking.
public official at all. Okay.
What about a
He's gonna do
person
the crash.
that's
It
not
should
a
be
public
fairly quick.
official?
He probably won't stay. you'll just have to stay and wait for the tow truck to get here and pull the car off.
Yep.
There's no property damage or anything, so Greyhawk doesn't even have to be involved. So it should just be you and your insurance at this point. Okay?
Who's on the
Okay.
line, by the way?
All right, be careful. Thank you.
What a lucky break for them. But yeah.
Thank God he wasn't more hurt or didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah, he should have been charged.
We attached an article that includes like a 2-minute video to our video if anybody wants to go back and watch it. Just to summarize what we think the video said was that after the fact, the state's attorney charged this commissioner with a DUI. Obviously, the commissioner got an attorney to represent him, and that attorney filed a motion to suppress his statements that were made on the body-worn camera. The statements when he was in the car explaining how the accident occurred, and when Derek and I said that we heard slurred speech, those statements. The argument that the defense attorney made was that the officer switched from a civil, like, traffic investigation to a criminal DUI investigation at that time, and therefore he should have read the commissioner his Miranda rights. And because he didn't do that, the judge said that none of those statements could come in front of the fact finder, the jury, apparently. But Derek and I don't think that that's a valid legal argument because, as we've said many times on this channel, Miranda is only required when a suspect is both in custody and under interrogation. I wouldn't have found, as the fact finder, that that commissioner was in custody and not free to leave at that time.
In fact, he did leave. Yeah. He was told he was free to leave shortly after that. This is weird.
It's very weird.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird that, like, he wasn't charged on the scene, and then somehow the state's attorney of this county got a hold of this body-worn camera and was like, whoa, we need to charge this guy, and ended up charging him at least with a DUI, possibly with a reckless driving. But now they have no facts to back it up, especially if they can't get in any of his statements.
No breath, blood, or urine, no standard field sobriety test.
And nothing about him on body-worn camera.
Right.
Even the officer wouldn't be able to testify to the slurred speech because he only heard that through the suppressed statements. Right. So this all was a huge waste of time and resources.
Because of a terrible investigation by that deputy.
Yeah.
It looks like so many strange things. I want to literally list off the weird things in this video. First of all, the officer just talks about the witness, all the witnesses, 7 people. He admitted this.
7 people flagged me down.
And then says I have no witnesses, right? So that is extremely strange. And I think the reason is he just didn't want to.
He wanted to go home. It was the end of his shift.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's maybe the best interpretation. One would be the worst interpretation, I think, was he was playing favorites, right?
Right.
Favoritism for this guy. And he even said at the end, I don't want to arrest a public official. So that's strange, right? But to take that even a little bit further, that he lets him go home, that he doesn't issue any traffic citations at the time. But then we see in this article that he was issued reckless driving. Literally, this article says he was not charged with DUI because they could not place him behind the wheel. But then they charge him with reckless driving.
Which also has an element of
driving. Yes, which requires him to be behind the wheel. So very, very strange there. But
the other thing is, too, like, if you're thinking as an officer, okay, the only witnesses I have are the suspect and the wife, who probably aren't going to testify at trial. But, like, if you think procedurally how this is going to go, they are public officials. So does the wife want to get on the stand and invoke, you know, the marital privilege? Does the defendant want to take this to trial? Like, probably not. They might have come to some sort of plea bargain to avoid, like, how this all looks to the public.
Right. Yes, but that's not even the deputy's responsibility. The deputy's responsibility is, do I have probable cause to believe that, you know, a violation occurred, right? A criminal act occurred, and he did. You can see commissioner was initially charged with reckless driving, Because the deputy couldn't prove that he was driving at the time of the crash. That is the most ass-backwards statement I've ever seen. How could someone even write that and not be like, wait a minute?
Yeah, and he was charged with DUI 2 months after the crash, it says, largely based on the statements were made, and then the statements were later suppressed. So this was all just a huge waste of time and like resources and taxpayer dollars.
Yep. This guy's going to get off because of the terrible DUI investigation or the lack of a DUI investigation.
And like when the state reviewed this, they should have known, like, what do I have now? Because there was no investigation. If the answer is nothing, I can't meet my burden. Why even charge him?
Right. Yes. Well, because those statements should be admissible as far as I'm concerned. So... And those statements aren't, well, not enough.
I don't think they were enough, especially with the airbags deploying, no EMTs.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It's not enough. So yeah, state's attorneys never should have even charged him. Even with those admissions to driving, there's not enough to prove intoxication. DUI at the time, there's nothing.
No admissions, no questions were even asked about drinking. No statement was made about an odor of alcohol on this video. Right. If like the officer believed that, he should have been like, have you been drinking? I can smell alcohol coming from your breath. Right. You know?
If that were true. Right. Yeah. Instead, we've got this deputy who's trying to pin him on a LaCroix. Like this officer doesn't even understand so very, very strange. I think this could be picked apart by any defense attorney 1,000 different ways. Yeah. And has been. Not only here, but his actual attorney. And it's all because of probably favoritism played by the officer. Yeah. And then the state's attorney comes in and says, oh, no, we can't do that. We can't play this favoritism.
Well, it's too late.
And then, Kelly, let's grade the driver, the commissioner.
I mean...
so hard.
From the perspective of defending him as a criminal defense attorney, I would give him an A++.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, especially knowing what the article said, that his body, like anything he said on body-worn camera couldn't come in. They don't think that they have any witnesses that can like say that he was driving other than his wife, who has... you know, the marital privilege that she can invoke. He's not going to testify against himself. The officers never went around and tried to get any other witnesses. He didn't make any admissions to drinking. He didn't do the fields. He was allowed to go home. He wasn't even checked out by EMT. Nothing was said about an odor. So, I mean, as far as, like I said, representing him, I would say an A+. Obviously, I wish that he had not drink and drive if that's what did occur. Right.
I mean, if the question is like, all right, you, me, 4 or 5 other attorneys from our office, we're sitting around the conference room table, we're going over all this because we represent this commissioner. I mean, every one of us, without a doubt, walks away with, well, we're winning this case.
Yeah, this is a slam dunk.
Yeah, it's slam dunk, right? Because for all the reasons that you mentioned. So if that's the grade we're given, it's an A+ from a defense attorney's perspective. Obviously, shouldn't have been drinking and driving, like Kelly said. So I agree. From that analysis, the guy's getting away with it. All right, how about this deputy who air quotes here, conducted the investigation?
I'm going to give an F. He wasn't rude, but...
He was quite kind, actually.
Yeah. He did not conduct any investigation. I mean, from the very get-go, if what he's saying is true, which I'd never believed from the beginning, that 7 different people flagged him down to tell him about this incident, he should have gotten at the very minimum their first, last name, and phone number. Mm-hmm. And then followed up after the investigation. And that could have proven that he was driving.
Could have. I mean, I'm sure people called in 911, you know.
Yeah, many things. He could have knocked on doors. Like, he shouldn't have just been like, oh, they all left. I had no control over that. Don't have no witnesses. Can't do anything about it. Secondly, if you're smart, I think you should be thinking through all the steps. I agree that that's not necessarily his responsibility, but did he have probable cause to continue an investigation? Absolutely. If he believed that the commissioner was under the influence, he should have asked him questions. Where were you coming from? How much did you have to drink? When was your last drink? He should have mentioned an odor of alcohol, mentioned the slurred speech, mentioned the glassy eyes to the suspect. Yep. He should have asked him to conduct field sobriety tests, blow into a portable breath test. all of those things. He never should have let him go. He should have let him be checked out by EMTs. EMTs could have corroborated the odor of alcohol, slurred speech, and ruled out the fact that that was because of an accident. He should have just been like, can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Guess you got to go home.
Yeah. He gets an F. I mean, he knows this ain't his first DUI. It's just not. Like, you can tell by the way he's talking at the end. He told he's a crash investigator. He's talking about the impact. I mean, this isn't an officer's first day on the job. He knows how to actually do a DUI investigation, but he didn't. And I think it's almost certainly because it was a commissioner, right? But he used an excuse that he didn't have the witnesses when clearly he could have. He did. There were witnesses that were available. So he lied. I mean, he lied. He cut the guy a break, which, is discretion that obviously, a lot of people, including myself, are going to have a problem with, right? That he's playing favorites with this commissioner. But on top of that, he didn't just play favorites and turn to blind eye. He just lied about what the investigation could produce, and used that as a reason why he didn't pursue it further. County gets their hands on it and tries to make right, but it's too late then. There was no good investigation. So, this officer gets an F in my book. So we've got an officer playing favorites. That's how I see this. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's not what you want to see. That's not the right thing here. If officer should play it evenly, right? If this was a different person, we think he would have and should have done the DUI investigation. Shouldn't have played favorites just because this guy was a commissioner. And now it's out there on the internet for everyone to see. So the things you try to cover up often do have a way of getting out there in the world. Thanks for watching.